Right now, there's a war being fought without a single bullet fired. No tanks, no soldiers, just silicon, software, and billions of dollars. It's the AI chip war, and it might be the most important conflict of the 21st century, because whoever controls the chips that power artificial intelligence controls the future. We're talking military advantage, economic dominance, and the ability to shape how every nation on Earth communicates, defends itself, and grows. The players? The United States, China, Taiwan, the Netherlands, and increasingly, the entire globe picking sides. Let's break down how we got here, who's winning, who's losing, and why a tiny island in the Pacific might be the most strategically important place on the planet. Before we dive into the geopolitics, let's get one thing straight. AI doesn't run on magic, it runs on chips. Specialized processors that can handle trillions of calculations per second. Training a single large AI model can require tens of thousands of these chips working in parallel for months. We're talking about hardware that costs tens of thousands of dollars per unit and consumes enough electricity to power small towns. And here's the problem. Almost all of the world's most advanced AI chips are made by one company, NVIDIA. Their H200 and Blackwell series dominate the market. We're talking over 80% market share in AI training hardware. But NVIDIA doesn't actually make their chips. They design them. The manufacturing happens almost entirely at TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. TSMC produces roughly 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors. So picture this. The brains of nearly every AI system on the planet, American, European, or otherwise, depend on a single company, on a single island, that China officially considers part of its territory. That's not just a supply chain, that's a pressure point, and everyone knows it. Now let's look at the US strategy. The United States figured out something important a few years ago. You can't stop China from building AI, but you can slow them down. Starting in 2022, the US rolled out aggressive export controls targeting advanced semiconductors. No more selling NVIDIA's top chips to Chinese companies. No more access to the extreme ultraviolet lithography machines that print the tiniest transistors. Those come from ASML in the Netherlands. And under heavy US pressure, ASML is legally barred from selling them to China. The strategy isn't about stopping China permanently, it's about freezing them in time. While Chinese companies struggle to replicate 2019-era technology, TSMC is already mass-producing 3-nanometer chips and scaling toward 2 nanometers. NVIDIA is releasing architectures dramatically faster than what China is banned from buying. The logic is brutal but simple. If your rival is spending all their resources trying to catch up to where you were 5 years ago, they've already lost the race. And the US keeps tightening the screws. New tariffs, stricter licensing reviews, expanded entity lists. The message is clear. We control the valves, and we're not afraid to use them. Now here's where it gets interesting. China isn't sitting still. Cut off from the best Western chips, Beijing launched a full-scale push for semiconductor independence. Huawei developed the Ascend series of AI processors. SMIC, China's largest chip maker, shocked the industry in 2023 by producing 7-nanometer chips without access to those banned EUV machines. They used older, deep ultraviolet lithography and pushed it to its absolute limits. Is it efficient? No. Is it cutting edge? Not really. But it exists, and that's the point. When Baidu launched ERNIE 4.0, their answer to GPT-4, it ran on Ascend clusters. Training took longer, performance lagged, but it shipped. Chinese AI didn't die. It adapted. Here's the deeper play. China is betting that if they achieve chip independence by 2030, US export controls become irrelevant. They're pouring hundreds of billions into domestic fabs, equipment, and talent. President Xi Jinping has declared AI a national priority, and the ecosystem is growing fast. But there's a wall they haven't climbed yet: software. NVIDIA's real monopoly isn't just hardware, it's CUDA, a software platform that now has over 5 million developers globally. Almost every major AI framework is built on CUDA. AMD built chips with theoretically better specs than NVIDIA's, and they still can't compete because the software ecosystem doesn't support them as well. Asking China to break the CUDA monopoly is like asking the entire internet to stop using English. Theoretically possible. Practically, a nightmare. Okay, let's throw some wild cards in the mix. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Taiwan. TSMC's fabs are concentrated in Hsinchu and Tainan, well within missile range of mainland China. Any serious conflict over Taiwan isn't just a regional crisis, it's a global AI crisis. Every data center, every smartphone, every military system that depends on advanced chips would feel the shock. Both the US and Europe are throwing billions at TSMC to build fabs domestically in Arizona and Germany, but advanced manufacturing takes 5 to 10 years to replicate. In the meantime, the world holds its breath. Then there's Russia. Largely cut off from Western technology after 2022, Russia has become increasingly dependent on China for chips, often through gray markets and intermediaries. They're not a major player in the chip war itself, but they're a reminder of what happens when you're on the outside looking in. Without access to advanced semiconductors, you're locked out of the AI future. And every other country is watching closely. Japan launched the Rapidus initiative to rebuild domestic chip production. Europe passed its CHIPS Act. South Korea is pushing Samsung to catch up with TSMC. So the question on everyone's mind, if there's a crisis, will the US cut off our supply too? The chip war has made every nation reconsider what sovereignty really means in the 21st century. If your economy depends on chips you can't make yourself, then you're dependent on someone else's foreign policy. So where does this all end? Short term, NVIDIA keeps winning. Their Blackwell architecture is extending their lead, and the next generation, codenamed Rubin, is already in development. AMD and Intel will survive, but won't seriously threaten NVIDIA's dominance anytime soon. China will keep closing the gap slowly. In a few years, Huawei's Ascend chips might match current NVIDIA performance, good enough for most applications, but always trailing the frontier. The US strategy of freezing them in time is working, at least for now. TSMC remains the critical node. Samsung could disrupt the monopoly if they fix their yield problems, but that's a big if. The real wild card is what happens if competition escalates or if someone makes a mistake. A Taiwan crisis would send shockwaves through every industry on Earth. Cloud costs would spike, AI development would stall, and the global economy would feel it for years. So here's the bottom line. The AI chip war isn't really about chips. It's about power, who has it, who wants it, and who's willing to fight for it. This isn't a story with a clear ending. It's a story that's still being written in fabs and labs and government offices around the world. And if you're watching this, you're living through it. So if you enjoyed this look at the chip war, let me know what you think. Drop a comment below about what you think is the most important aspect of this war. That's all for today. If this helped you understand the chip war a little better, hit that like and subscribe button and keep watching, because in the next video we will look at the quantum computers, the most powerful computer ever built. Okay, we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.